What's up guys, today we are going to show you how to change the brake pads and rotors on your BMW, specifically a 2012 535xi. Alright, the tools that you will need for today is a jack, some jack stands, possibly a hammer, good old ratcheting tool, whether it's manual or power. You'll need some 16s, 13s, an 18, an H6, an H7, an 18mm socket, caliper depressing tool, some grease, and something to get your wheels off. This is for the electronic brake depressing. Now, since I have a BMW shop, I have all the correct equipment. So this is with the electronic brake, you got to spin it back in. Or we have this little app where we can put the car in service mode and electronically spins it back in, which is real nice. For me, my car sits extremely low, so I had to put it on race ramps. It's real nice beat up. It's my daily driver I've had for 5 years. It's gone on the construction sites. It gets beat a lot, but still a fun car. So now that we got that up there, we can jack up the car and get the jack stands under it. You can see right underneath the car in the center in the front is this little metal raised area. That's your jack pad for the front, and that's where you're going to want to jack up your car from. Grab your jack stands, walk over to each side of the car in the front. You'll see these little pads. Mine's beat up because BMW makes a special pad that slips into there. Big old circle so you don't damage anything. None of us have that. So just get your jack stand on there, get it on there nice, and do that on the other side as well. Now lower the car down, but be sure to check to make sure it's going right down on the jack stands. Next up, grab you a socket for your tires. They should either be a 17 or a 19mm deep well. Mine is a 17mm deep well. Go ahead and zip off your tires. Alright, now on the back of the caliper, you're going to have two caps like this that are sticking into it right there. You're going to remove those and then grab yourself an H7. It's basically an Allen key. Put them in there in the back, you loosen them up, and then that way the caliper will come off, well, the brake pad part of it. Just give that quick little pop off. Screwdriver. Then once you get the caliper loose, you can pull this out. Sometimes you got to press on it back and forth and wiggle it out because it's stuck in there. When that happens, you can put a screwdriver here back behind it or in front of it. Front of it seems to work well, and it'll compress the caliper back in. And then you'll be able to get it off. Ah, almost there. Ta-da! Alright, you can get that up out of your way. Try not to hang it by the hose. Zip tie it, bungee cord it, do something like that. And next, you can grab your 18mm, and there is two sockets or two bolt heads on the back. That is the caliper bracket. You can loosen them up and take it off. Next, you can grab an H6 or 6mm Allen key. Put that right in there. It's gonna want to spin, so you're either gonna have to pry it or give it a jerk, depending on how stuck it is. For me, just a jerk worked. And now that you got it off, it's a good chance, or it's a good time to just look over everything. Make sure your wheel bearings not a piece of junk, and everything on it as well. There's no leaks. There's nothing crappy going on with it before you grab the new rotor. Another thing you're going to have to change is your brake pad wear sensor. This will grind down, and then your car will throw a light saying you need to change the brakes. Really easy to change. Pull it out of your caliper, go up here, pull it off of this. There's a little black box up here. Pull that out, simply unplug it, plug in your new one. You're going to want to line the hole up for the rotor lock with it right there on your wheel bearing. Like so. Grab your H6, put it back on. Now we reassemble, starting with the caliper bracket. Next, grab out your brake pads, and what you're going to want to do is locate your brake fluid reservoir, and you're going to want to pop off that cap, because as you press back in your caliper, it's going to push fluid into it, and it's got to be able to vent. Sometimes it'll be too much and it'll go everywhere. Look out for that. Now you want to depress your caliper. I have this super cool little caliper tool. Found it on Amazon for like 20 bucks. Highly recommend. Because you just put it in there and start cranking. You're going to want to compress it all the way back in. So for your new beefy pads, they are not going to fit. Done. See how easy that is? Love this thing. Now, you're going to want to make sure these guides for your calipers are nice and cleaned off. There's no rust in them, no junk. Grab a screwdriver, pick it all out. What I like to do is dab a little grease in these spots. I know other guys don't, but I do, and it's never done me wrong, so I'm doing it. Now that you got that, you can take your front pad in, the one that's flat, go ahead and set it right there. Your back one, you're going to have to stick it in to the caliper. Like so. Now you can slide all that over. Make sure you get your sensor out of the way because we will have to put that back in. Boom. And you can see right down in there, there's a little slot. That's where your pad sensor will go. So you just go and it should just pop right in there, like so. Now, take this little bad boy. You're gonna wanna stick this little tab in the slot right there. It's real finicky to do. Gotta love doing this. And then you push the other two tabs right behind it, and it kind of like locks your caliper into place. Now, you take the H7 back and tighten up your caliper. Look at that, all done. Now that that's done, put your tire back on and do it to the other side. I won't show you the other side because I just Showed you this side. Now we'll move to the back. Onto the back side, you're gonna need a 16mm and a 13mm. I like to use the ratcheting wrenches. You'll have the 16 on this inside right here. Sorry, yeah, 16 on the inside, 13 on this outside, and then you'll be able to get your caliper off. Now, get your brake pads out. See, mine were absolutely done for. Take your 18, you got the bolts on the back again. Take your H6 like before to get the rotor off. Sometimes you got to grab your big peen, give the rotor a tap. Only do this if you're replacing your rotor. Now, put it all back together. Now with these, you're going to want to put in your new slides that come with it. So you pop them off, grab your new shiny ones, and pop them right back on. I still like to put a little bit of grease on them. Doesn't hurt it. Who knows if it helps? I believe it helps. Keeps them sliding well, but definitely doesn't hurt. Also, what you do want to do, see how these slide in and out? Pop them out. Rub a little bit of grease on them. That way they'll continue to always go right in and out. Grab your pads, set them right in where they go. Now, this is the part where you need to either put your car into service mode, or they make a specialty tool where you can screw that back in. But since my car is in service mode, I can go ahead and just twist it back down with the same clamp I've been using. Now, pop back on your caliper and tighten it down. And there we go. Tires back on, car's back on the ground. And now I'll show you guys how to properly bed in your brakes. A lot of people don't do it, but you should do it. It's just a process of doing like 50 to 30, 30 to 10, and just like heating up the brakes and really letting them bed in. Alright guys, make sure you go onto your local closed course in Mexico. So you can start like at 40, give it some like medium brake, go down to like 20. And what you're going to do is probably do that like 5 times. You want to start getting the brakes hot. Then you're going to want to go up to 50 and apply a little bit more. And really get them heated up. You're going to want to keep doing that over and over, probably 3 to 5 times. You're going to smell a bunch of brake dust. That's because they're bedding in and getting hot. The main thing that you don't want to do is come to a stoplight while still holding the brakes, because then your brakes are boiling hot and they're just like seizing themselves and creating a spot right there on your rotor. So after you do that a few times, you get them nice and hot, you just kind of cruise around, let the brakes cool off, and then they're hardened and then they're fit to your rotor, so everything matches and everything's really good. And that's all it takes, guys. It's a pretty easy job. Probably took me like 2 hours, a little bit longer than normal, because recording and explaining everything and cleaning up. Car's all good. You guys make sure you drive it around, check it, make sure everything looks good. If not, you did something wrong. Go through, check it all again. But thanks for watching, guys, and I'll keep putting out some more how-to videos.